I have loved Neil Simon for decades. I think the love affair started probably in the 1960s, and like many of you, it wasn't necessarily a play, but it was a television version of a play that became very popular back then, called The Odd Couple. And I remember the first time that I read The Odd Couple as a play, and Neil Simon is one of the few playwrights that when I read the script, I actually laugh out loud, which drives my wife and my dog to distraction. Usually I've read thousands of plays, but when I read plays, I normally am rather silent and read them and figure out how to do them. When I read Neil Simon, I just crack up. It's just so funny, even on the page. Then I started directing Neil Simon, and I've directed quite a few, including last year. We were able to direct a wonderful show called Plaza Suite. This year, there was a show that I've never directed before, but that is somewhat familiar probably to you because it was a good movie version of it, called The Sunshine Boys. I hadn't read it in a long time. I was very interested in working with E.J. Sobkowiak again. This will be E.J.'s 18th summer season with us, and E.J.'s a great friend, and I'm always looking for plays that he can star in and that I can direct because he makes directing so easy, especially in a comedy, because he just is so funny. And I started reading The Sunshine Boys and again started cracking up. I immediately saw E.J. in one of the roles. Interestingly, we have another actor who's an MFA student right now. Actually, he's an MFA in directing student, but he's also a dynamite actor. His name is Michael James. He'll be directing on Golden Pond. But I immediately saw him in the other role, and I thought, holy cow, I've already got half of the cast all set. And those two guys really make up about 80% of the script, and the other 20% of the script is the nephew, which will be played by Micah Cronlocken, who is joining us again for this summer, even though he is an alum. He's graduated and come back to us. The play itself is about these two, you think Martin and Lewis, or if you can think of Abbott and Costello. For some of you, this will ring a bell. For some of you, will go, what is he talking about? But they're two old-time comedians who basically would set up old-fashioned routines. I think about Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner, for example. The fun thing was that they were incredibly popular in their day, and this is well past their day. The two of them have not spoken for years, and the setup of this play, which is set in the 70s, is that CBS wants to do a reunion of all old famous comedians, and of course they have to go with a group called Lewis and Clark, and those are the names of the characters that EJ and Michael will be playing. And the only problem is that Lewis and Clark haven't spoken to each other, and one of them, the EJ character, the Walter Matthau character, the Oscar character, desperately does not want to be seen in public. And the play pretty much takes place in his apartment, and he's not doing well. He's physically not doing well. He's an old, grumpy curmudgeon, and yet the nephew, played by Micah Cronlocken, comes back and talks him into this reunion. That discussion alone is worth the play itself. It's very funny. And then Lewis and Clark indeed perform again. It's a Neil Simon play, so not everything goes according to plan, and of course that's what makes it hilarious. It's an old-fashioned comedy. It's filled with all kinds of one-liners, but unlike modern comedies, which is all joke, 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 these jokes are based in characters. At the end, you really get to know these characters. You really want them to get together again, and whether they do or not is not nearly as important as the effort that they make in trying to make this happen. And you just got to come and see the effort happening.